Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. We're back with a daily race C from this week's Redbull Ring Group 3 race with the standing start. It is chaos, chat, but it does leave some quite entertaining racing on lap 1. So TC on for the start, obviously to try and get a good start, and we're going to try and get a few positions off this start. Now this is the thing, you can either get a lot of luck here or no luck at all. We're going to go around the outside. First race, don't really know what to expect. We get a little bit of contact, but luckily we do manage to get through that corner without being spun. So I think we actually gained maybe one position. I think actually we're in the same position as we started in at this point, still in P13. We're going to go to the right hand side here, try and get the slipstream off the Porsche, and then try and brake late on the inside, which we've managed to do there, slowing the car down. Plenty of time for that hairpin, and now going to get back onto the throttle to try and push our way up this right hand side. Now the Genesis is very quick on acceleration, so we managed to get ourselves up into P10 there, and we're going to go to the right of the Alpha and try and get a move done late on the brakes, which again we managed to do and put ourselves up into P9. So a fairly good start so far. Again, exiting on third gear, can we get a run on the Porsche in front of us? It's going to be probably quite tricky there, so we're going to go to the right hand side and then try and see if we can cut back a little bit, but again not really able to do that there. But you can see just how close these standing starts are, and in my personal opinion it makes for a very entertaining lap 1. What it does make me wish is that we had better rolling starts in this game that actually kept everyone more compact like they do in real life. So yeah, maybe for Gran Turismo 8 might get it in there, but I wouldn't hold your breath. It would be nice if PD actually gave us a proper rolling start system, one where we kind of manually control it, a bit like ACC, where you can't crash into anyone but it's manually done. It would be great to do that, but we'll wait and see for Gran Turismo 8 with regards to that. But it definitely gives better racing. The closer the start is, the more entertaining the start of the race is. So we get a really nice run on the inside of the Porsche there, and that puts us up to P8. So managed to gain a fair few positions there on that first lap and a little bit, and we're going to skip to the end of lap 2 now, where we can see we've got a lot of cars right in front of us there, P7, 6 and 5, all very, very close. They're fighting a lot, and we're just going to see if we can pick any of these positions off. Coming off this last corner again, try and get a good exit. Be careful you don't pick up a penalty on that exit. It is very easy to get a penalty on that exit of the corner, and obviously this being our first race, you are going to see quite a few penalties in this race, because I think it was the 9 o'clock race, or actually it might have been the 9:30 race in the morning on Monday. So a lot of people in this combo were not really up to speed. They didn't really know what to do with the strategy. People were probably guessing a little bit, so you have to bear with people with some mistakes that people are making, and also picking up penalties. It's that first race today, so we go for a move up the inside there, and we make that work quite well. Now there was a weird bit of what I presume to be desync or lag there, because we were clearly slowed down on the inside, and the car just pinballed off to the side there, but we didn't even touch him. So I presume that was a little bit of lag there. It was clear to see, you could hear the noise, but we were slowed down and completely stopped on the apex. So I'm not sure what actually happened there, but yeah, servers at the moment on this game are not the greatest. I would say that these servers definitely need a lot of maintenance doing on them, because there's a lot of cars lagging around, desync between cars where they're not actually where they say they are, and you see cars pinballing off the track when there was no actual contact. So yeah, I hope PD can get on top of this, because at the moment it's getting worse, and it'd be nice to see that improved as we catch up to P6 here. He's just had a penalty. We're going to try and go around the outside. Now this was a little bit frustrating. You can see we get a little bit of contact. It doesn't really leave us much space. I don't think it was deliberate, but the game gave me a penalty when I've just been pushed wide. And I have to be honest, I don't know about you, let me know in the comments, do them penalties really frustrate you? Because you're pushed wide by another car and you pick up a penalty for a track limit, but how can you avoid a track limit when you've been pushed wide? I think them type of penalties need to be sorted out really, because they are quite frustrating. But we managed to get past the Porsche there, and we've got P5 with a penalty as well, and I think P7 behind us is going to get a penalty for running wide out of turn 1. So everyone in this group's got penalties, and it's to be expected. It's one of the first races. It's my first race, and probably the majority of people in this race, it's their first race of the week on this combination. So again, quite lucky that when I've got the penalty, other people have got the penalty as well. So that's one benefit there. So we've had one, and we've managed to get ourselves ahead up into P5, but we know that everyone else in this group has also got a penalty. So as we come to the penalty line, don't actually lose any positions. So a little bit lucky there. There's our first bit of major lock as we go into the start of lap 5. We get a little bit of a tap on the rear there in the braking phase. Luckily, we don't end up spinning the car, and we manage to keep this position in P5. And we're going to go to the right side. Now, I noticed him flashing, which I presume would mean he's not going to go for an overtake here, so we go to the left-hand side and then get the car back onto the racing line to try and get a good exit up this hill. And you can see we get quite a good exit. The GTR behind us has a little moment on the rear, and that's going to drop him back, and it means we don't have to go too defensive in the braking zone. So skipping a little bit further ahead, and we can see one of the drivers who started at the front has had an incident in that corner. Very commonplace for people to make mistakes, and that's quite interesting because he's got a penalty as well, and that's going to drop him to about where we are in the race. So that's quite lucky for us because that was one of the lead runners in this race, and now we're going to be pretty much dead level with him when he takes that penalty, as we pick up another half-second penalty there. Very silly driving by himself, went over far too deep onto the curb, and you can see we managed to get past the driver with the penalty. Now he's going to shoot off into the pits. You can see it in the mirror there. He's off into pits, and we're going to go for the 6-5 stint on this race. So let's see what happens here. Now, I take the penalty here, and I think to myself, right, he's going to get past us anyway, which he does. And I was thinking, do we change tyres? And I was thinking, do you know what? Let's test this out, because we're going into the pits almost identical to P3. So I thought, I'm not going to change tyres, because then I'll get an exact time reference, basically. So he was half a second ahead, so we'll take that off. Obviously, when we see the difference, we'll add that on. So as we come out of the pits without changing tyres, we can see we're about, I think it's, by the time we get back up to speed here, it's about 2.8 seconds. So about 3.2 to 3.3 seconds it costs you to change the tyres, and that's probably not going to be a worthwhile gain, if I'm brutally honest. If it would have been 5 seconds, it could have been a little bit more interesting, but with 3 seconds, yeah, they're going to catch us up probably. So this is going to be very, very difficult. And looking at the tyre wear, you can see we're racing soft tyres, and they are getting very, very worn at this stage. So we're going to try and drive as well as we can and keep it as smooth as we can on this outlap and on the laps remaining. We've obviously got 5 laps to go, and the tyres are already pretty shredded. So it's going to get interesting at the end of this race. Now, as we come to the end of lap 7, we see Brown Banana is coming out the pits, and you can see here, keep your eye on the right there, he's in the Lamborghini, and he's going to come out on fresh tyres. So at the moment, it's looking very difficult to get any sort of result out of this race there, and we're going to go past him and take that position though. So one benefit is we've got past there, but I do know that that Lamborghini on fresh tyres is going to be a lot quicker than my Genesis on very, very old tyres. So just try and get a good run on this tight right hand corner, and then again use that Genesis strength, which is the acceleration. Now that could come in handy, how quick this car accelerates, in terms of just trying to maintain this P4 in this race. However, as we're coming into this braking zone and coming out the exit, you're going to see something. We see a nice yellow flag appear, and we've got the 2 leaders, one facing against the wall and one with a penalty, and just stop dead on the road. And then as I make a mistake, we also spot Brown Banana with a 3-second penalty. So the lock in this race is crazy, but this is what happened. You can see the Alpha a bit aggressive on the throttle, clips him, and then Tins is straight into the wall there. Unfortunate there for Tensley, and yeah, that's unfortunate, but good for me in a way, because now I'm up to P3. P1 hasn't pitted yet, so we're technically in P2, and we've got Brown Banana, who's had a 3-second pit lane entry penalty. So the lock just keeps coming to us in this race, and somehow when he takes that penalty, we are actually going to be in a technical P1, because P1 hasn't pitted yet, and by the time he's out of their pits, he's going to be behind us by a few seconds. So very, very interesting so far in this race. I don't know how we've managed to get into this position, because I've drove awful, but I suppose with everyone having their first races, a lot of people are struggling as well. And as we go over the line there, you can see we're going to skip forward a little bit to the end of lap 9. Now, at this point here, you can see we're getting caught up very quickly by the Nissan GTR behind us, who is on completely fresh tyres. You can see it on the exits. As we come out of every exit of the corner, he's going to gain, especially the slow corners, because he'll have much fresher tyres, a lot more grip, and this is going to be very, very difficult to defend. But at this point here, I felt, right, we're okay to we don't really need to go defensive into this corner now, so we can just take our normal line. You can see he has a little look up the inside, but it's not really going to work. And then as we get on the throttle, we get quite a good exit here. You can see he doesn't really get the best exit there in that Nissan GTR, and we've only got 2 laps to go here to defend. And I'm thinking at this stage, all them cars behind me, it's all or nothing, because if one gets past us, they're all going to get past, because they'll just run rings round my old tyres with fresh tyres. So I'm thinking we're defending this. We are going to try and hold on as much as we can and try and take an extremely lucky win. Now, as we're coming through here, keep your eye on the mirror there. The GTR getting really, really close. And then as we come through here, I'm going to show you the full screen here. So I take the normal, like, as much of a line as I can do. And the car behind just takes a bit too much speed in and clips our rear. Kind of unfortunate for him, but a little bit optimistic, I think, to try and get the move done there. And I was thinking, that's really unfortunate. He made a mistake. You know, he got too aggressive. Should have been a bit more patient, until he writes that in the chat. Now, normally someone writes something like that is if they think you've done something wrong. But looking at the replay camera, I just take a normal line. We've got understeery tyres. We clip the apex of the curb. And he tries something a little bit too optimistic. And I think that is 100%, not even 1% our fault. That is 100% his doing there. I don't think we did anything wrong. We were just trying to hold on with these old tyres. And that is basically his own fault for being too aggressive. Should have waited for a better place to do it. And he would have probably easily got into the lead of this race. But we are still managing to hold on to the lead on the final lap here. So it's all about, can I survive these group of cars that are flying up behind us with fresh, soft tyres. Now, into the braking zone, you can see my left front tyre is almost completely gone. And I'm just going to try and concentrate on that exit speed, so widen the line a little bit. And we actually get quite a good exit speed from there. You can see I actually pull away a little bit from P2, go from 6 temps to 7 temps there with that exit. And again, we're just going to try and hold on for the remaining corners. These are the corners where we're really going to struggle, because the car will not rotate. And again, you see using second gear, back up to third gear, and just trying our hardest to get any sort of pace from these worn tyres. Again, the next two corners are really going to be difficult compared to the cars on the fresh tyres. So just try and hold a tight line to the apex and then get on the throttle as aggressively as we can. Not too bad on the first one. Second one here, we lose a bit more time as it's a bit more tyre dependent there. You can see he actually gains over a tenth on me. But it's looking good here. I can't see that that car is going to be in a position to go for an overtake. And as we come into the two final corners here, again, just trying to make sure we hit our brake point nice and early up to the curb. And then one more corner to go for possibly the luckiest win I've ever had on Gran Turismo 7. I don't think I remember a race where we get that much luck in a race from the back of the grid and take a win. So yeah, a little bit lucky. We did the wrong strategy. You really do need to change tyres. Not changing tyres is not the way to do it. It's slower and it's a lot harder. But the luck was with us with that one, and I thoroughly enjoyed that race. Hopefully you did as well. So smash that like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again in the future. Take care, everyone.